we go. It's working. Wasn't working a second ago. Alrighty. So let's see if this works. Oh, it does work. Look at that. Okay. Trying new things always. Trying to just make this flow a little easier. Be a little bit more efficient. All right. Proverbs chapter 6. And, man, let's just see if we can cruise a little bit. Well, let's find out. Starting in verse 20, it says, "My son, keep your father's command. Do not forsake the law of your mother. Bind them continually upon your heart. Tie them around your neck. When you roam, they'll lead you. When you sleep, they'll keep you. When you're awake, they'll speak to you. For the commandment is a lamp and the law a light. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life." And so this is one of those build-ups. He's trying to tell us something very important. And so it's this ramping up of how important it is for us to listen and hang on to this stuff and apply it. And so now it says, verse 24, "to keep you from the evil woman." I know when I started chapter 6 2 days ago, I said, oh, well, it's a continuation of chapter 5. And there's that break there where we covered in the last 2 days. But now we're back to the subject of adultery. And so it says to keep you from the evil woman, from the flattering tongue of a seductress. Do not lust after her beauty in your heart. Do not, nor let her allure you with her eyelids. For by means of a harlot, a man is reduced to a crust of bread, and an adulteress will prey upon his precious life. Can a man take fire to his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one walk on hot coals and his feet not be seared? So is he who goes into his neighbor's wife. Whoever touches her shall not be innocent. Some of these verses are ones that they've always been very heavy to me, and because they're supposed to be, right? They're supposed to be heavy. They're supposed to be getting a point across that because of adultery, a man is reduced to a crust of bread. And that one in particular, I always think of a loaf of French bread, maybe one of those bigger ones, Safeway French bread, you know, these big fat loaves. And on the outside, the loaf begins to get hard, but on the inside is that yummy, yummy, soft and light, white bread. You scoop out the innards, you eat it, whatever kind of loaf it is, right? Sometimes it's nice just to, as a kid at least. I know none of you grown-ups would ever do such a thing, but just reach in there and you grab that squishy goodness of bread and you eat it. But what's left? This hard, gutted crust. And that's what Solomon's trying to tell us adultery can do to a man. And so he says, can you take fire to your chest, to your bosom, and not get burned by it? And this is the idea that oftentimes the enemy, our flesh, the world, will make us foolishly think that we can dabble in sin and not be affected by it. Like, we're going to, well, you know, I can just, I'll be okay. And it's like, no, you can't take fire to your chest without being burned. It's going to have an effect on you. People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he's starving, yet when he's found he must return sevenfold. He must give up all of the substance of his house. Exodus 22, 23, right around 22 or 3. It talks about if you get caught stealing, you need to return, how many more you return for what you've stolen. And it differs on if the animal was dead or they found it with the animal alive, etc. But the point is that when someone catches a thief who was stealing because he was starving, people don't get bent out of shape over that as much. I mean, you're still a thief. You still stole. There's consequences, is what the Bible's saying. But they get it. Like, this guy was hungry and he needed food and he was trying to save his life. But whoever commits adultery, verse 32, with a woman lacks understanding. He who does so destroys his own soul. Wounds and dishonor he will get, and his reproach will not be wiped away. For jealousy is a husband's fury. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will accept no recompense, nor will be appeased though you give many gifts. You know, I thought I was just going to charge my way into 7, but it looks like we might have one more day of adultery left. Here's why. I think 7 we might be able to take out all in one chunk, because it's really just finishing up this 5, 6, and 7. These chapters in Proverbs are key chapters talking about sexual morality and adultery and the dangers of adultery and the importance of taking wise precautions to not fall into adultery. God's plan is one man and one woman for life. That's God's plan. Many, if not most of us, have messed up that plan. But it doesn't mean we can't get recentered, get back on God's page, make changes in our life, and stick with it the rest of our life. But notice it says in verse 34, is kind of what I want to focus on as we close, is for jealousy is a husband's fury, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will accept no recompense, nor will he be appeased, though you give many gifts. I think there's something a little deeper in here for us, because God says that he is a jealous God. You know, I went through my life up until last year, a year and a half ago, somewhere around there, sometime last year, last school year, without ever taking the time to open up a dictionary and learn the difference between envy and jealousy, because they are specifically two different things. And if you are like me, and I think most people are in this sense, we mess up and we use the word jealous when technically it's not jealousy, it's envy. I'm going to build up to something here. Oprah Winfrey said that she lost her faith in God, or whatever God she's believing now. She was growing up, she grew up in the church. But when she heard that God was jealous, and she said, well, if God is jealous of me, how great can God be? If he's jealous of what I have, then how can that be a great God? And the problem she runs into is that she doesn't know what the word jealous means. Envy and jealousy. Envy, actually, I'm wondering if jealousy is a sin. Maybe you need to help me with that. If you know where it says jealousy is a sin, look into that. Envy is a sin. Envy is synonymous with covetousness. Envy is when you see what someone else has and you desire it. You have these sinful feelings come up inside, don't tell me I'm the only one, and you see what someone else has just gotten, what they have that you don't. And love it or hate it, you're a sinner, and there's envy there. Deep down, you're just mad because you see something that someone else has, someone else received, someone else gets known for, whatever it may be, and it's envy. Covetousness is what envy is. It's wanting something that belongs to someone else. Jealousy has a specific definition. This is why I had to look up, and I'm trying to get better at using it properly. Jealousy is when you see something that is rightfully yours. It belongs to you. It is yours by right. But when you see other things trying to pull it away from you, other things trying to come and take what is yours, that's jealousy. And our God is a jealous God. And you see here, for jealousy is a husband's fury. His wife is rightly his. Absolutely his. And if he sees another man coming in to try to take what is rightfully his, there is some righteous indignation about to happen, and maybe even a little unrighteous. That's the idea of envy and jealousy. And so envy, did I say envy? We're going to have to cut that out. I don't actually edit these. Too bad. Envy and jealousy. And so that's the thing. So here now, look at this. Jealousy is a husband's fury. Well, our God, who is a consuming fire, he is a jealous God. And he is jealous for you whom he owns. Blood-bought, belongs to him. And all these things in our lives, in your life, that are trying to pull you away from him, there's some fury there. It's a good fury, because you're precious to him. You're his bride. He loves you. And he doesn't like to see anything pull you away from him. It makes him angry. And it's a righteous anger. There's righteous anger, and you don't struggle with it, and neither do I. I always say, there is righteous anger. I just don't struggle with that kind. And so notice what it says, therefore, he will not spare on the day of vengeance. Do you see like a hinting here? I'm not saying this is necessarily designed to be a prophetic text, but, right? What happens on the day of vengeance? What happens in the tribulation? God pours out his wrath on an unbelieving world who has been persecuting his bride. Finally, the day will come where God says, all right, I've got my blood-bought bride, and all of you have been picking on her. And I've been waiting for the day. I've been waiting for the day to pour out my wrath on an unbelieving world who has persecuted my bride. And I've been waiting. Why? Because I'm long-suffering, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. And so this is the idea here. He will accept no recompense, nor will he be appeased, though you give many gifts. In that day, unbelievers who stand before the great white throne, there is nothing, absolutely nothing they can give. And my friend, if you've been married, if you are married, right? I mean, this idea, if you are a married person, and you can imagine probably if you're not married, but still, some seductress tries to steal your husband, right? There is some man trying to put the moves on your wife. Will you accept a gift and be appeased? No. You've just crossed a line. There's two lines you can't cross. You don't mess with my wife, and you don't mess with my kids. And when people mess with you, they've just messed with both, as far as God is concerned. And so, remember that. You serve a jealous God. In no way, shape, or form is he in any way envious of you. But by all means, he is jealous for you because you are his. And anything that would pull you away from him, he doesn't like it. Can a man take fire to his bosom without being burned? No, he can't. And just remember that all those profane things, all that fire that tempts us, it does leave us burned. It does take us from him. And he gets upset. So, there we go. Okay, God bless you guys. Wrap it up. You guys take care. Have a wonderful weekend. What do we got going on? Spanish Bible study tonight. If you know any Spanish speakers in the Lower Valley, it sounds like it's pretty awesome.